"Papa," she said softly, "you didn't protect me." In the quiet town of Bida, where every evening smelled of roasted corn and dust after rain, lived a girl named Chisom, the miracle child of the Nadozi family. Her birth was a song that healed a wounded marriage, the answer to years of endless prayers and tears. Everyone in the neighborhood adored her. The pretty girl with bright eyes and laughter that could melt hearts. To her parents, she was not just a daughter, she was proof that God still listened. Because of that, they gave her everything. Yet, for all their love, they gave her one rule that was not to be broken: never eat food that didn't come from her mother's hand. Not even from family, not even from friends. No matter how hungry you are, Chisom, her mother always said, "If it's not from me, don't eat it." At first, it didn't bother her much. She loved her mother's cooking anyway. Spicy jollof rice that made her classmates jealous, and sweet bean cakes soft enough to melt in the mouth. But as she grew older, the rule began to feel strange. At every family gathering, while cousins filled their plates and laughed, Chisom sat quietly, pretending not to be hungry. One Christmas, her aunt Ngozi came from Lagos with boxes of gifts and trays of meat pies that smelled like heaven itself. "My baby girl, come and eat. I bought this one for you." But Chisom shook her head and whispered, "Mama said I can't eat." The laughter in the room stopped for a moment. Her aunt frowned. "You're growing, Chisom. You can't be living on your mother's fear forever." But Mama only smiled gently, collected the food, and gave it away to the village children. Chisom watched as they chewed happily, anger boiling in her chest. That night, she asked her mother why, but all Mama said was, "When the time is right, you'll understand." Years passed. Chisom became a beautiful young girl, kind but stubborn, always respectful, yet secretly curious about the one rule that made her different. Her friends didn't understand her either. Every day after school, they would stop at the kiosk near the main road to buy snacks. Puff puff, meat pies, chin chin. Chisom always walked home alone, clutching her school bag tightly and ignoring the teasing. "You're still a baby," they would say. "Your mommy controls you like a doll." She tried to laugh it off, but it hurt. One afternoon, on a day hotter than most, her classmate John bought snacks for everyone. "Come on, Chisom," he said, grinning. "Just one bite. Don't tell me you're scared." Her friends laughed again, chanting, "Mommy's girl, mommy's girl." Chisom hesitated. The smell of the fried dough was sweet and tempting. She thought of her mother's warning, then of the laughter ringing around her. Slowly, she took a piece and ate. The first bite was heaven. Sweet, soft, harmless. Everyone clapped and cheered. For the first time, she felt free. But freedom, as she would soon learn, sometimes comes at a deadly price. When she got home, her mother noticed the crumbs on her uniform and froze. "Chisom," she whispered, "what did you eat?" She confessed. Her mother didn't shout. She only grabbed her daughter's wrist and ran. They rushed to the hospital. Chisom's vision blurred, her stomach twisting in pain. At the hospital, the doctors ran test after test, but everything came back negative. As Chisom gasped for breath, her mother held her hand tightly. "Mama," Chisom croaked, "I'm sorry. I should have listened." Her mother swallowed hard, trembling as she finally spoke the truth. "I went everywhere. Then, one woman took me to a babalawo. He told me I would have a child, but I must never let that child eat food from another hand. He said, if you ever do, I would pay the price." And before the nurses could reach them, Chisom's hand went limp in her mother's grip. Her body stilled. Her mother screamed. By the time her father arrived, his world had already shattered. But tragedy wasn't finished, not by far, because the curse had only begun. The night after Chisom's burial, Bida was quieter than usual. The wind was still, and even the crickets refused to sing. Inside, her father, Obinna, sat motionless beside the fire, staring at the small framed photo of his daughter smiling in her school uniform. Her mother's screams at the hospital still echoed in his head, sharp and haunting. He hadn't spoken to anyone in days, but no one dared say it loudly, because strange things had already begun to happen. The night before, Obinna had found the pot of stew boiling on its own, and when he called his wife's name, her voice had answered from the empty bedroom. 3 days after the burial, tragedy struck again. Mama Chisom was found lifeless. Her eyes were open, wide, and terrified, as if she had seen something she couldn't describe. The villagers began to talk. "It's the curse," one old woman whispered. "The mother has paid the price." That night, he sat alone. Then, from Chisom's room, came a soft sound, the faint creak of her wooden chair rocking back and forth. He pushed it open, and the rocking stopped. On the table lay her old school bag, zipped open. Inside it, he saw something glimmer, a half-eaten snack wrapped in nylon, the same kind she had eaten before she died. His hand trembled as he reached for it, but then a whisper froze him in place. "Papa." The voice was soft, too soft, yet clear. "I'm hungry." The curtains fluttered, though the windows were shut. Suddenly, the light bulb blinked once, twice, and burst. He ran from the room, locking the door behind him. At dawn, he went to Pastor Amos. "You must cleanse the house," he said. "The spirit is restless. You and your wife made a vow to something dark." That evening, the pastor arrived. They prayed, sang hymns, and sprinkled holy water in every corner. For a moment, the house seemed peaceful again. But as the pastor was leaving, a loud bang came from Chisom's room. The door flew open on its own, and the photo frame on the wall fell, shattering into pieces. When they looked inside, the word "hungry" was scratched into the wall, deep and uneven, as if carved by invisible fingers. The pastor left immediately, his hands shaking. "This is beyond me," he muttered. "You must find the Babalawo." But when Obina found the old man's shrine the next day, it was empty, burnt to ashes. The villagers said the man had died 2 nights ago, his body found under a tree, eyes wide open just like Mama Chisom's. From that day, Obina stopped sleeping inside. He tried to move away, but wherever he went, the haunting followed. One morning, he woke to find footprints, small, bare footprints, leading from the gate to his mat. And beside them was a half-eaten puff-puff, still warm. That was when he realized something terrifying. The curse was no longer bound to the house. It was following him, and somewhere in the shadows, a small voice began to whisper again, softer this time, almost sweet. "Papa, I told you I was hungry." For days, Obina lived like a ghost. Neighbors whispered that madness had begun to creep into his eyes. At night, the house came alive. The walls whispered his name, and in the corner of his room, the old chair where his wife used to pray rocked slowly, even when the windows were shut. On the 7th night, he woke to the smell of his daughter's perfume. The air turned cold. From the darkness came a sound, faint, wet, and childlike, the sound of chewing. He turned toward the sound, and there she was, Chisom, or what was left of her. Her eyes, once bright and full of life, were now hollow, deep, and cold. "Papa," she said softly, chewing slowly. "You didn't protect me." Her voice carried 2 tones, one innocent, one hollow, like 2 people speaking through the same mouth. "Mama promised to feed me forever, and now you will feed me instead." Obina felt invisible fingers touch his face, ice cold and heavy. A delivery boy once peeked through the window and swore he saw 2 shadows moving on the wall, one tall, one small. Inside the house, the air thickened with rot. Plates shattered on their own. The mirrors refused to show Obina's reflection, and every night, the same ritual repeated. The sound of chewing, the smell of fried dough, and the voice of a little girl whispering prayers that weren't from any Bible. Then one night, he found himself holding a piece of puff-puff. "I don't want this," he whispered. But another voice, his own, yet not, answered from inside him. "She's hungry." The possession was slow. Each day, Obina felt weaker. When he looked in the mirror, sometimes his reflection smiled back before he did. Once, while drawing water from the well, he saw a small hand resting over his, invisible, cold, guiding him. One evening, the town priest came. He gasped. On the wall, written in dark, dripping letters, were the words, "She is eaten." That same night, Obina stood before Chisom's picture, eyes bloodshot, his voice layered. "You wanted food," he said quietly. "Now you will never hunger again." Then he opened the door to a room and walked in without fear. When the villagers found him days later, He was sitting cross-legged, smiling at the empty air, his mouth stained with oil and crumbs. On the wall behind him were the words, "We are full now." But sometimes, on certain nights, people walking past swear they hear a child laughing and the faint, haunting sound of chewing. Years passed. The story of the Nadozi family became a whispered legend in Bida. The tale of the child who disobeyed, the mother who paid, and the father who vanished. The old house stood abandoned. The villagers called it Ulonke Nrimo, the house of the hungry spirit. Some said you could still hear a girl crying softly for food, until one day a new family arrived. They came from the city, Mr. and Mrs. Ease and their 2 children, Ada and Nonso. The locals tried to warn him, but he laughed. Ghosts? There are no ghosts. So they cleaned the place, patched the walls, and painted the doors. At first, everything seemed normal. Ada loved her new room, big windows, a view of the mango tree, and a chair by the corner where she could read. It started small. The smell of fried dough drifting through the hallway at midnight, though no one was cooking. One evening, Ada came downstairs holding something in her hand. A small, oily puff-puff wrapped in nylon. "Mommy," she said innocently, "can I eat this?" "I found it on my bed. Who gave it to you?" "No one," Ada replied, but she said it's okay. "She looks like me." The next morning, the puff-puff was gone, but crumbs lay neatly arranged on Ada's pillow, spelling one word: hungry. The television turned on at 3 a.m., showing only static, until a small shadow appeared on the screen, smiling. Even he couldn't explain the voice that called his name, or the tiny footprints that appeared on the dusty floor of Chisom's old room. On the 10th night, Ada woke up screaming. In her lap was a photo frame no one had ever seen before. A faded picture of a girl in a school uniform, smiling. "She says we're family now," Ada whispered. By the time the neighbors came the next morning, the house was silent again. The door stood open. No one answered when they called. Inside, the living room was empty, except for 2 plates on the table, both half-eaten, and a small note written in a child's handwriting that said, "Thank you for the food." No one ever saw the Ease family again, but sometimes, when the wind blows, children swear they hear laughter, the laughter of 2 girls, one living, one dead, as if the curse still lingers, waiting for another hungry soul to arrive.